Good afternoon, family, and welcome to the very edition, first episode of the Beware the Day podcast. My name is Ryan, and I want to thank you all for joining us today. Um, I discovered that there were over 5 million podcasts in the world with over 70 million subscribers, and I'm honored that you chose this one today. I'm going to give you basically an overview of what I hope to accomplish with this podcast. I was approached probably about 6 months ago, and everybody's telling me, Ryan, you should do a podcast. You should do a podcast. And I said, I don't even know how to do a podcast. I've never, I can listen to a podcast. I know how to pull it up online, but the thought of doing a podcast never crossed my mind until I spoke to Monica Tucker at Black El Paso Voice. I want to give her a shout out. Thank you so much for making this possible. Marcus McCoy and others in the community who said, you need to do a podcast. I said, okay. So I'm going to give it a try. So if I crash and burn, it is your fault, Monica. Anyway, Beware the Day. People say, well, why? Where does that come from? Beware the Day. It sounds kind of ominous. Well, I'm going to tell you where it came from. It came from a poem by Langston Hughes. The poem is called Warning, and I'm going to read it to you verbatim. It goes like this. Negroes, sweet and docile, meek, humble, and kind, beware the day they change their mind. Wind in the cotton fields, gentle breeze, beware the hour it uproots trees. So this is not a call to arms. What it is, in my opinion, is a heads up. A heads up because once we start to change our minds, once we start to change the way that we look at each other and ourselves, we can do great things. So we're telling the establishment, beware the day they change their minds. And so my goal with this podcast is to change minds through knowledge and education. Now, let's talk about what this podcast is and what it's not. Okay. This podcast is a frank and open discussion of the history of Americans of the African diaspora. Not diaspora, that's a big word. Some of y'all may not be familiar with that word, so I'm going to define it for you. Diaspora simply means the dispersion or spread of a people from their original homeland. So we're going to focus on Black history and Black culture, more specifically African Americans of the African diaspora. And even in that group, you have subgroups. You have African American descendants of chattel slavery, and you have African Americans who have recently emigrated from the continent or from the Caribbean, emigrated to the United States sometime during the 20th century or prior to. Now, so I'm basically going to dispense a lot of knowledge here. And what this podcast is not, it is not a political discussion. It is not going to be confrontational. I want to caution that some people in the audience may be a little triggered by the things that we discuss, but it is not intentional. I love American history and I love our history. The African American experience in America is very unique, and I'm going to share our struggles and our triumphs during the course of this podcast. So, what can you expect? Well, you can expect quite a bit of knowledge. I'm going to be quoting from several different sources. We're going to cover different aspects, different facets of the human condition as it relates to our history and our culture. And I'm going to try to bring it, fast forward that into the 21st century. You can expect interviews. There are subject matter experts out there that we'll be reaching out to from time to time and inviting them to come on to the podcast. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Now, So, in the meantime, where can you begin your knowledge journey? Well, um, I can recommend several sources. One of them, and we're going to focus on um, creating generational wealth. That's going to be our focus in the month of January, and this is going to be our source. It's called The Color of Wealth. The subtitle is The Story Behind the U.S. Racial Wealth Divide. So if you Google that book, The Color of Wealth, it's probably available at Amazon. You're more than welcome to read this book cover to cover. However, I'm going to focus on chapters 3, 6, and 7. So that's one source of information. Another source of information is the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. This organization has been around since 1915, founded by Dr. Carter G. Woodson. You can go to their website. It's asalh.org, and there is a wealth of information there on Black history and Black culture. If you are in El Paso, you can always pay a visit to the McCall Center, which I like to affectionately call McCall Center the El Paso Center of African American History and Culture. There's a wealth of artifacts there, pictures, photographs, things of that nature. So it's worth a visit. And I also want to remind you, if you are in El Paso, make sure you pay a visit to the El Paso Museum of History. There is an excellent Black history exhibit that will be up probably through the end of January. So you still have time to go to the El Paso Museum of History and check that out. And if you are listening and you are in the DC, Maryland, or Virginia area, or you are planning a trip to the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area, make sure you pay a visit to the National Museum of African American History and Culture. Be prepared. I would set aside at least 3 days for that visit. It's going to take you that long to go through the entire museum and take in every single exhibit, but you will enjoy it. It'll be worth your while. I guarantee it. I've been 3 times, and there's still some exhibits there that I missed, so I'm planning on making another trip as well. And what I'm going to do on my Facebook page and my Instagram page and YouTube, I'm going to post a reading list of other books and other items that you can look for and do some independent study. You don't have to wait for me to do this once a week. Feel free to do a deep dive into our history and our culture. So the next podcast will be a week from today, and we will be talking about generational wealth. I'll be discussing generational wealth from a historical perspective. We'll be talking about the racial wealth gap. We'll be talking about some of the ways in which we were denied generational wealth through the implementation of public policy, and what we can do in 2024 to begin the process of securing and accumulating generational wealth. I'm looking forward to that discussion, and hopefully we'll have some subject matter experts lined up that can assist us in that journey. So you direct your attention to the crawl at the bottom of the screen. Please like and subscribe to the Facebook page, to the Instagram page, and to the YouTube page. Please subscribe to the YouTube page and hit the like button and the notification bell so you'll be notified as to when the next episode will be available. Once again, I want to thank Monica Tucker and El Paso Black Voice for giving me this forum to discuss Black history and Black culture. I'm looking forward to this journey. And until the next time, be kind to yourselves and to one another, and you take care.